Okay, we're using the ultrasonic leak detector, and once again you need to know your tool in the environment that you're working in. When I walked into this garage, this is called Old English, as you can see out there. If you can see the Old English car out there, everything here is Old English. But when I walked into this garage, this thing was going off way up there on 6. Why? I immediately knew why. It's not that there's leaky airlines in here or some sort of vacuum whistling source, either a vacuum or pressure. What do we have right there? What's that? That's an LED light. What's that? LED light. Cheap. Chinese. What do they have in it? Dirty, cheap switching power supplies. The radio interference in those things were making this thing take off, skyrocket, and I could not diagnose a leak. Let's get back over to this old Jaguar. So you seen my video earlier. He was going to replace the compressor because the clutch wasn't engaging. He put power to it, it wouldn't engage. But in this system, and unfortunately it's dark because I have to have all the LED lights off in this place, otherwise I cannot use this device, because the cheap Chinese do not pass the FCC radio interference things, even though they might have a UL radiant on them and an FCC interference thing. Bullshit. Again, marketing and salesmen, the most scummiest people on earth. So again, back to this. What do we got here? Let's go to the front shaft seal. Nada. Nada. Let's go to the front case seal. Let's jump up. What do you hear? Or what do you see? See that? That's the rear head seal. But let me go farther. That is the rear fitting seal. There's a seal in the back fitting, and you can see I'm almost at 10. So rear head and rear fittings from the manifold to the back of the hoses, where the hose goes back to a manifold, right back there. Head, not so bad, I don't think. I'm trying to differentiate. Definitely the back fittings. A vehicle this old, trying to bring it back into restoration, you don't even blink an eye by saying all the hoses and all the O-rings and walk away. That's it. That's all it comes down to. You don't even think of anything else. If you look at the shine here, that hose should not be shiny. And I'm trying to pick out the weep holes. See these little tiny holes? Okay, these are called weep holes. These are so when the refrigerant builds up in the outer skin, it doesn't explode like a bubble, because there is a natural leakage. So they put these tiny, tiny little holes to vent refrigerant. Refrigerant gauges have them too. So if you see here at the tip, there's a little indent, that's a hole. And it's purposely made there to weep. You see this one right there? They're even. You can count them with a tape measure. So if we look at this one right here, but then we look at this one has oil. Oops, this one has oil in it. So we have one here. We have one here. Do you see the pattern in spacing? And look at that one. That was not wet when I started here. I just added refrigerant into this system. Look at there. But yet, there's no bubbling, and there's no way to, it's not even picking it up in here. So that type of leak is very slow, and the oil is plugging the leak right now under this static operating condition. I do got to go over, let's see, I won't even bother. I already know. I've worked, these things were leaking back when they were still new. So don't even, it's one of those things you know from experience. Okay, so here's worm gear clamps. And I won't bother going over the hose. Then our expansion valve is buried right back behind the rear head of the engine. That guy was right there. If you see that hard line going down to that fitting, that's going into the expansion valve. And in my headphones, because I have headphones on, I hear absolutely nothing down in this area. You got to take all this out to get to that. You don't even want to change the expansion valve on one of these things. Of course, any kind of work, the receiver dryer gets replaced, and this is the receiver dryer right there. At this age, this has to get replaced. We don't want that desiccant material to fall apart and plug up the expansion valve. And as I was talking about in the earlier video, my brother did this one many years ago, and he did use refrigerant dye. I could not find anything because unfortunately he used a cheaper refrigerant dye because he has been somehow convinced in the mindset that you don't use expensive things, and good enough is good enough. As you know from my videos, I'm not into a good enough. I'm not a salesman, I'm not marketing, so I'm not a low-life piece of shit who tries to twist the truth and the facts to make it to my advantage to sell products. That's for the low-lifes who can't do anything. Who have big companies and big products that they need to move to pay their overhead and make a profit off of people who are unknowing. So I just had to show you that. Let's go back to this leak again and watch the lights as I get close. See how far away I am. I wish I could. Let me put my finger and cover the without covering the camera. Okay, so now we can see the lights. You see how far away I am? You see those lights? It's almost hitting 8, the number 8. I have no light because I want you to see the lights. It's somewhere right down in there. And you see as I move away? Do you see how sensitive that is? I'm picking it up this far away. I'm almost 3 feet away. That's how sensitive this is. Okay, let the light go back. Okay, so even if for some reason you couldn't narrow yourself in there, from almost 3 feet away, just by moving this around like this, I can narrow in on that leak. Everything has its advantages and disadvantages. I have my H10 and I have my Stratus calibrating outside right now, heating up, and I'm going to bring them in. And I often use 2 or 3 leak detectors because sometimes, like in a case like this will not find this leak in this working condition. That's where another one comes in. All right, next video.